Alrighty, good morning. No, actually not morning. God, I'm so used to doing this in the morning. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the T Podcast. I have a special guest on today, an impromptu podcast because I didn't have this scheduled way in advance. This got scheduled yesterday. So today we have Priscilla Gonzalez on. We're talking about her candidacy for Lafayette Mayor President. So sit back. Enjoy the show.
All right. Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me on such a short notice.
Yeah, so I am excited to have you on too because you have been the talk of the town as of lately. And before we get into the nitty gritty of why you're the talk of the town, let's go ahead and introduce yourself. But first, let me let you know about our presenting sponsor. I totally almost forgot to do that because I'm excited to get into the conversation. So Chase Group Construction, they are our presenting sponsor. They take the lead and become your one point of contact for the entire design build process. They have a diverse portfolio of projects that range from medical to shopping centers to restaurants, all that above. You can find their website at chasegroupconstruction.com. And yeah, enjoy the show, man. Good to have you on. As you can tell, I'm a little nervous because I know that you have a lot coming at you. So I'm ready to have this conversation and see where it goes.
Sure. Don't be nervous. I'm actually used to this level of scrutiny. However, the level of hostility that's coming from Lafayette, Louisiana has me very excited, intrigued, and more importantly, it's Waking Up Louisiana or Lafayette, Louisiana parish. So I do believe that for the most part, it's a very low voter turnout in October. But because I am so dramatic and people are talking a lot, I do think this is going to get out the vote. And more importantly, people need to register to vote and stop focusing on me in particular and get more people to vote.
Okay. So before we go too far into the race and all that good stuff that comes with that, tell us a little bit about you. You're originally from Corpus Christi, right?
No, actually, I was born and raised in McAllen, Texas. So that is by the U.S.-Mexican border. I did graduate high school, and I did get my bachelor's in poli-sci from Fort Hays State University.
Wow.
I am a pre-law student. However, I never made it to law school. I did move to Corpus Christi to do the tenure with a personal injury law firm where my motive and my entire job description was to grow the law firm from 30 employees to 100 employees. So when the owner actually recruited me to work for his law firm, he was actually losing money and his law firm was in a serious decline. He hired my expertise as a marketing director. We set out a 10-year plan to grow the law firm to bring in obviously millions of dollars, and I was able to do that. I was director of marketing. When I did leave the law firm, they had about over 100 employees. I did have 8 people working under me, and I did manage 8 people. With the law firm, I was mainly focused on marketing, but I delegated most of my positions because I had like a self-running marketing department, which is actually a really good something proud that I did. And we do rank one of the top PI law firms in Corpus Christi, Texas. So I'm very proud of my work there.
Yeah. So when did you end up moving to Louisiana and Lafayette? Like, because you were in Corpus Christi just a couple of years ago. And you were running for mayor there, right?
Yes, I chose to run for mayor because the homeless community was extremely... states to the northeast and west actually bust down their homeless communities because they don't want them in their cities. So they tell them they're going to give people a one-way ticket to a beach city. And we were inundated, and we don't have enough facilities. So during COVID, which was August of 2020, I drove by our office and I saw a lot of homeless people camped out of our office. That is when I kind of woke up and I said, something needs to be done. The city's not doing anything, and the city still is not doing anything. The infrastructure was crumbling. Jobs were not available. Small businesses were closing. Everybody was having problems with the streets. You're guaranteed to sprain an ankle if you walk down a Corpus Christi street, except, unless you walk down a millionaire's house, obviously they're going to have a prestigious street. So there was a lot of problems with Corpus Christi, and I found that. So I threw my race in to run for mayor. It was obviously, I was more welcome in Corpus Christi because I had spent a little over a decade there. I was there for about 12 years. I did do a lot of community projects like working with the homeless, helping homeless community. I did start a Corpus Christi beach cleanup club. I did help with sponsoring the PACT Act, which is a bill to actually help veterans who are exposed to toxic burn pits, which Republicans voted against. So my motive behind that was to help pass legislation. The co-sponsors of the act, or the authors of the act, are Rosie and Lee Thortis, who actually reside in Rockport, Texas. Lee Thortis is actually being unalived because he has lung cancer because he was exposed to toxic burn pits from the military. And I did volunteer for Beto's campaign at the time. I was heavily involved in politics. And when I moved up here to take care of my mom. She's obviously getting older. I'm her main caretaker. My stepdad, who is 70, who almost passed away last year because of an infection. And I'm here basically, I'm here for life, basically. So my family has decided to reside in Lafayette, pretty much forever. And I'm very involved when it comes to family. I do have power of attorney over my stepdad, so I have to reside close to him or wherever he is because I have to stay in constant communication with all of his doctors.
Okay, so they live in Lafayette.
Yes, yeah. They reside in Lafayette as well as other extended family that I am not allowed to mention for security reasons.
Yeah. So that is the primary reason for you moving to Lafayette.
Yes.
So long term, is Lafayette going to be a place that you call home long term, or are you the type of person that likes to move to a city for a couple of years, maybe a decade or so, and just kind of experience different cities? Are you a traveler? What's that like?
No, one of the main reasons I moved to Corpus Christi obviously was for a job.
Yeah.
My dad does reside in Corpus Christi, so it was actually a really good time to actually grow a very close bond with my dad. However, my mom and my stepdad do reside here. My dad does have long-term plans of moving to Lafayette to be closer to me, and my entire family is here. I'm not at liberty to disclose for security reasons, but I am calling Lafayette home for life.
Okay. Well, I know you've been active in the Lafayette conversation for a while because on our Facebook page, even probably close to a year now, yes, you were commenting throughout the comment section of different projects that I would post on. Mm-hmm. I remember one in particular. I don't know if it was a Mexican restaurant that I had posted or there was a conversation about Mexican restaurants, because that seems to be the funny thing around here is yes, we have a lot of car washes and Mexican restaurants. And you had asked a question about, are there any locally owned Mexican restaurants in Lafayette, yes, not chain related? And there are plenty. I sent you a comment back and I said, there's this one and that one. So I know you've been active, at least on the social media for sure, in Lafayette for a while. Now, I don't know where you've been living, if you were already in Lafayette, because the story today is that you haven't been living in Lafayette for a year or something like that.
Okay, so I can debunk those lies. I think that peddles along of conspiracy theories, which is utterly ridiculous.
What do you mean? What conspiracy is that?
Conspiracy theories is that I am a pawn for Jeff Landry. Conspiracy, and I don't work for the Jeff Landry campaign. Conspiracy theory that I am a Republican when I am a lifelong Democrat. You can look at my voting history and you can actually see that I did vote for Biden and I did work on the Beto campaign. I did vote for Beto and I do majority vote for Democrats. However, Democrats are eating their own party here in Lafayette. So they're doing a very good job if they want a Republican to win for mayor president.
Okay. So it just, speaking of Jeff Landry, it was interesting because I was like, I know Priscilla's name. I don't know her personally. And this is kind of why I wanted to do this is, sure. Is the mic syncing on you? Hold up a second.
I was just going to lift.
Okay. Is it good?
Yes.
All
good.
Right. So, and I was on your Facebook page and I saw that there was a photo with a ton of Jeff Landry merch. And I was like, wow. So somebody really did say that she was a pawn for Jeff Landry. And there's a photo with a bunch of Jeff Landry merch. So what is the connection? If you're not on the campaign trail with Jeff Landry, what is your connection and reason for, pushing Jeff Landry?
I'm not pushing Jeff Landry. Let's backpedal a little bit. You
Yeah.
asked if I've lived here longer than a year. So I moved here at the end of November 2020. I did reside with my mom for a little bit, and then I rented a townhouse because I have a lot of dogs. And that townhouse burned down. I was struck by lightning, and then I was homeless basically again. So I went back to living with my mom, and then I found an apartment at Elora, and I resided there for 2 years, and I have a 2-year contract with them. And then after that, I moved into my house that I have right now, which has a nice backyard. The story behind Jeff Landry: when I first moved here, I contacted the Lady Dems of Lafayette, and I asked them, are any Democrats running against Clay Higgins? Because I was going to run against Clay Higgins at the very beginning. The first year that I got here.
Running against that guy is a
Yes.
interesting challenge, I'm sure.
I love challenges. And I do see how Clay Higgins can be from a social media perspective. I do see that the Dems do not like him a lot. However, he has done good things for undocumented immigrants and for immigrants in general.
Really?
So there's a lot of disdain because he does like to portray himself as this very powerful, authoritative figure, which, you know, he's a guy, I understand it, but, you know, he does help immigrants. So I do appreciate that about him. I asked the Lady Dems, do they have anybody running for, you know, for office? If you have someone, nobody stepped up to the plate. Nobody wants to step up to the plate. So basically, it's Lafayette women who complain, cry, kick, and scream about politics and about Democrats not stepping up to run for office. And here I am, and now they are crucifying me. I was ousted from the Lady Dems for posting that picture of Jeff Landry. But what I was doing is I was waking up Lafayette. And I did contact every single campaign that I could that's running for governor. And I have not found another viable campaign. The only Democrat that's running is Sean Wilson, and I was able to meet one of his representatives at the Art Walk.
Do you not like Sean Wilson, or is there something that you didn't like about his campaign?
I just discovered Sean Wilson. Okay. They need to step up their marketing game, but suffice to say that Jeff Landry is poised to win for governor. If Democrats don't step up to the plate and stop eating their own party, they actually have a chance in Louisiana.
Okay, interesting. So someone asked a question, and feel free to, respond to it if you want to. Let me go ahead and put it up on the screen here. So it's kind of hard to see as it cuts it off. But the question is by Chris Balfour. What do you see in the current leadership in Lafayette that inspired you to run for the mayor-president position?
Sure. So a lot of disdain. I did see that there is a homeless ordinance that you cannot feed our houseless community downtown. If you do, you will be fined. I did see that Josh Guillory graciously raised his salary from, I believe, 120 or 140 to 170. The median household income in Lafayette, Louisiana is $50,000. There's no reason why a public servant cannot live off of $50,000. I live off of $26,000 a year. I'm very good when it comes to finances.
Wow.
I have everything in check. I have all of my bills prepaid 2 to 3 months in advance, and my entire family is in check. So I am capping the mayoral president's salary at $50,000. If I am elected, I am giving back that money to the taxpayer dollars. If I cannot do that, I will actually donate it to a nonprofit organization, or I'm going to actually let the public decide. I also saw that October 1st is actually closed for voting, and it's on a Sunday. There's no reason why we should have one day that's not for voting, because everybody knows that people cannot vote 8 to 5, and that's mainly minorities because they can't request time off. So when minorities can actually vote is on Saturdays and Sundays. So I am going to try to get polls open October 1st. No other candidate is actually working and trying to help me do that. In the state of Texas, it's very easy to do it. All you need are volunteers, and then you file a petition with the city, which is something that I'm going to advocate for. I do see the infrastructure needs a lot of help, and I do see a lot of other problems that we can probably get more into detail, into the weeds, and I'd probably be sitting here for 10 hours. When it comes to economics, crime, when it comes to our parks, our recreational services, And there's just so much stuff that I'm here for the people. I'm here to serve the people. I'm here to make Lafayette a better place for everybody. I'm here to improve the quality of life. I'm not here to fight against the people. And I just need everybody to understand that. I am not a Republican plant. I have been a servant for life. I was born as a missionary, so I did dedicate 16 years of my life traveling to Mexico and helping people that are less unfortunate. I volunteered with Raíces Immigration Services with Special Arts of the Arts. I hosted one of the first Corpus Christi Pride Parades, where my brother actually came out in Corpus Christi, Texas. I worked on the PACT Act. I've worked on legislation. I do have plans for Lafayette, and I love the city, but clearly the city, particularly the Democrats, are not very welcome. Republicans are the ones who are a little bit more gracious.
It's just so interesting to hear. I guess I don't know if I hang around people running for office that much or whatnot. Obviously, I'm friends with a wide range of people, Republican, Democrat, and really a lot of the people that I hang out with don't really talk about politics all that much because it can get kind of hairy. But at least on social media, Democrats tend to not want to, or the appearances, Democrats do not want to talk to Republicans, and Republicans do not want to talk to Democrats. And it's interesting that you're in your talking, you actually give props to Republicans in some degrees, and it's so different to hear that because I'm used to hearing like the opposite. Like it's usually it's us or against them and vice versa. So like. I guess it's just I don't understand. I guess where do you see that Democrats are eating their own? Like, is it because of your experience, or is it something that you're seeing that maybe others are not seeing? Like, where do you get that from?
Democrats are attacking me. If you look at my Facebook post, they are viciously attacking me, condescending, rude comments. I have not received one rude comment from Republicans at all whatsoever.
Do you think that's because of the Jeff Landry post? Like having the merch?
It's conceivable to believe, yes, but mainly the conspiracy theories are Republicans. But I'm more inclined to believe that Republicans have reached out to me. I am having meet and greets with Republicans right now. I do have another meeting with another running group that are Republicans. And for the most part, if you look at my last election, I had more Republicans voting for me than Democrats.
Wow.
I just believe in people over party. I don't believe it's Republicans over Democrats. It's us together voting to improve the lives of everybody. There's no reason why we should be one-sided.
Yeah. So why, I guess when you place a party line on your voter registration card, why put a party at all? I mean, I'm registered no party. Like, sure. I've done that since I was 18. I'm like, I don't know. I'll be honest. I didn't know anything about Republicans, and I didn't know anything about Democrats at the time. I was 18. I was like, I don't know which one stands for what. I just knew that my mom and dad, I think at the time that when I was younger, they were registered Democrat. And because we lived more lower income, and we survived off of public school and free lunches and all this good stuff. And as a kid, I didn't know any of that stuff. And I'm thankful that I didn't have to worry about all that. Kids today are so consumed with social media and all the social stuff with politics. But I guess I don't want to lose my train of thought. But yeah, so, God.
Sure,
could you pull what I was going with that?
Yes, I'm also a food stamp baby. Okay. My parents migrated from Mexico for a better life for their children. I am a U.S. citizen, and when it comes to finances, I'm more fiscally conservative.
Well, I mean, surviving off of less than $30,000 a year, that's pretty impressive.
Well, I'm very frugal, and I'm very...
You coupon?
Yes, I coupon. There's nothing wrong with
No, there's nothing wrong with coupons. So my wife makes fun of me because I use all the restaurant apps.
I do want people to know that Albertsons just removed their senior citizen discount day and their military discount, which is actually not a good thing. Yeah. I do know that things are more expensive in Louisiana versus other states. There's no reason why we should have a higher tax rate, which I believe, but that's more on a state level. Yeah. So I'm running for mayor president. student. But I do find all types of way to recycle. When it comes to social issues, I'm more liberal. When it comes to finances, I'm more conservative. And yes, I do live off of $26,000 a year. Obviously, I have more of an income than that, but I've done my finances. I live very frugally. I don't overspend. I'm not a girly girl like anyone else would imagine. Okay. And I find any type of way to make my quality of life better, as well as my family. Everybody's in check, and I am pretty much the lead of the household.
Okay. So I want to go into some of the hot button points, and if you're good with that, because I want to be respectful of your time, and I try to limit this to about an hour and a half. Okay. So, and we'll sprinkle in some of the policy, and from what I gathered, it appears that homelessness is a big contributor factor of why you run in general in Corpus Christi. And then you notice that here, especially with the administration putting up signs and everything where, begging is typically happening, or panhandling, they call it. So going into some of the hot button stuff, one of the things that was mentioned, of course, is the filing or challenging of your qualification. Because apparently you did not meet the residency requirements set by Lafayette's home rule charter and falsely certified income tax returns. Like, where does that come from?
It's all conspiracy theories. I can prove that I've resided here longer than 3 years. Or 2 years, 3 years, but 1 year is the minimum. So all I have to prove is that I've resided here for more than 1 year. And if the public wants my lease on my Facebook page, all they have to do is ask me, and I will graciously put my lease on my Facebook page.
Okay. And before we were really gotten into the thick of talking, you mentioned that running, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. I thought I heard it, is that you believe that you're just coming in to kind of shake things up, or at least that's what it seemed like.
No, I'm not coming to shake things up. I'm coming because I believe and I know that I'm qualified for the position. Clearly, the public's going to decide that. Yeah. But I have worked on legislation. I do have experience running for office. My entire life is eat, breathe, and sleep politics and the law. I do particularly focus on bills, on legislation. If I don't get this position, I will be seeking another position. And Clay Higgins' seat does sound pretty juicy and nice.
Look, let me tell you, Josh actually ran against Clay Higgins, and he didn't make it. So he ran for another position and got mayor president. So that's an interesting way. I mean, if you're looking into getting into policy and have a position, obviously there are plenty to go around. You just have to fight for it. And so beyond the residency requirements, that's a lot of what I see here. Let's see. Of course, you ran for mayor of Corpus Christi. I'm trying to find some, because one of the things was the driver's license and your voter registration. It says that there are discrepancies regarding your Louisiana residency, and obviously we already established that initially you did not have a Louisiana driver's license or voter registration when you arrived to qualify.
Right.
So and you got registered to vote in Louisiana or Lafayette the same day.
Yes. But you also, if you look at my Facebook post, I had been working towards getting my stuff switched out. However, if you go to the DMV off of Johnson Street, I took 7 different documents and they still denied me. And then I spoke with the manager, and the manager came and said, nope, we're not giving you anything.
Why?
You tell me.
And 7 different documents, like what document? Obviously, birth certificate?
I provided a birth certificate, a passport. I provided 2 different bank accounts. I provided my lease. I provided utility bills, 7 different documents. And then they said that they are a private entity.
Yeah, they are.
Exactly. But regardless, I went to the one in Carencro and I got my federal ID, which is a federal ID. It's the real ID. So I don't know what more qualifications they actually require, but I was able to meet all of the requirements.
Okay. And then, and I don't know, I didn't see this, but somebody said is it your license plate on your car still had Texas on it? I mean, obviously you can, that's easy to still have, but
Do they want me to like manually put like Louisiana in marker? Would that make them happy? Or what happens if I didn't have a car?
yeah.
Like if they have an issue with my Texas driver's like plates, I can just buy a Louisiana plate and just put that on there and make the public happy.
Look,
I can paint my entire car with like the Louisiana state flag.
It's just it's so interesting to see and how fast it came about because when did you make the decision to run for mayor president? At what point did you decide like, hey, I'm going to do this now? Was it the day of or the day before?
No, I've been contemplating it. I actually volunteered for a couple of other candidate campaigns because I wasn't doing anything. I cannot sit down for an election season and not do anything. So I was walking doors. I was calling. I was involved with the Lady Dems of Lafayette. Obviously, they ousted me from their group, which is a little bit idiotic. And for the most part, no, I've always wanted to run for office after I lost the mayoral's candidate for the mayoral's race in Corpus Christi, Texas. I was thinking of running for mayor again or running for Texas State 27. And I posted that on my Facebook. So I'm in it for life. This is my career. And I'll tell you what, if the entire city of Lafayette does not want me here, if they're not welcoming me here, if they're not giving me that, oh, Southern pride charm that you're so welcome in Louisiana, we just love and welcome everybody, which sounds like a bunch of like BS. They can file a change.org petition. If they get the population of Lafayette, the entire 100 and I believe 100 and something thousand signatures on there. And if they want me to drop out of the race, if they get the exact number of people, if you Google the amount of people in Lafayette, if they get those signatures, I will drop out of the race. But if they don't meet those signatures, I'm not going to drop out of the race.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to challenge me in court, there's nothing better that I love to do because I do love a good challenge in the courtroom.
Yeah, I don't think signing a petition and getting that many signatures would be almost impossible.
Exactly. It's because they're not willing to actually do the manpower. But more importantly, right now, everybody, regardless of who is running for office, focus on registering people that are not registering to vote. Focus on getting people out to this election because usually this election season is not going to bring out a lot of people. Yeah. If you look at the voting numbers in past elections, it's just not going to happen. So I would stop hyper-focusing on me. I would stop hyper-focusing on, this entire lawyer shenanigans, which is actually fun for me and it actually exhilarates me.
Yeah.
I would stop trying to pry into my life and I would focus on registering people to vote. So for those people who are conspiracy theories and believe all of those things, I need them to all start registering people to vote instead of attacking me on social media viciously.
Yeah. So, and kind of going back to the beginning of the conversation again about your run. And so do you believe, or do you have any inclination that you have, I guess, a fair chance to win the election?
Yes. Rumor has it that the person that's poised to win is Blanco.
Really?
That's just rumor on the street. Now I'm going into conspiracy theories.
Yeah, because it looks like the incumbent still has a high percentage, but the percentages seem to be dropping. But it's interesting that you say that.
I'm interested to know if any of the other candidates, they're all Republicans, and it's very interesting. But I did hear that Blanco changed her party from Democrat to Republican. So not sure why the Dems are actually kind of trying to support her. And a rumor on the street is that her campaign is going to reach out to me to actually drop out of the election, which actually is a good thing because if she's poised to win, then that's a good thing for my campaign.
Okay, so I guess in all fairness of the race, and if you were not to be elected, you may. I don't know how this is going to turn out because this is a very interesting race so far. Who in Lafayette running for mayor president would you feel best qualified to run or to take the seat? If it's not you, who else would you rather see? Are you able to disclose that?
Oh, well, of course. Josh Guillory has proved that he's not qualified for the position. I don't know much about Jan Swift, so clearly she's not done enough to convince me. I have tried to look into her social media, maybe reach out to her. Zero. Blanco, I don't know anything about Blanco other than her mother is a former governor. Unfortunately, she passed away, but I do know that she switched her ticket from Democrat to Republican because clearly she knows that only Republicans get elected. So I can say that I would.
Why didn't you put Republican?
Why didn't? Because I'm not a Republican.
Okay, but like
I can't lie. I'm a very transparent person. You can ask me anything about everything. I've disclosed everything that I possibly could. The only thing that I haven't told people is that I have 4 dogs. They are vicious. They do attack. Other than that, I'm very proud of my resume. I'm proud that I worked on legislation. I'm proud of my education. I'm proud of my tenure at a law firm. I'm proud that I can try a case in federal court. So if those lawyers want to throw more stuff at me, I actually might be sending on some cease and desist letters just for fun.
Okay. So we have a few comments rolling in, and some of them I've been looking at. And so one of them says, why weren't you registered to vote? If you've been here for 2 or 3 years, give or take,
Yes.
Why register to vote the day of qualification and not have already registered, being that you are so involved in the political arena?
As stated, I was trying, and I did do a Facebook post. If you want to go to my Facebook page, I did try with a DMV off of Jefferson. The main reason that I hadn't switched over everything was because my dad was in the ICU. My stepdad was in the ICU for a majority of last year, and this year he just had knee replacement surgery. So it was... maybe we might have to go back to Texas. Everything was just not set in stone. So when everything was set in stone and I took power of authority over him, I am working to try a case in federal court. I do have another case where I'm trying to help a client or a friend gain back his land, and that's going through another lawsuit. I do help other people who are actually wrongfully terminated in Louisiana. I do help them file claims with the EEOC, and I do help them sue their employers. It's just a matter of probably my negligence, and I just didn't have the time to do it. So a week prior to qualifying, I had called the DMV and I had already gone there, and they told me you need like 5 or 6 different documents. Since my townhouse burned down when I first moved here, I lost everything but my Mac, like everything. And I kept my dogs and my Mac, but everything burned down. So I had to contact and get my birth certificate, all of my documents. I had to get everything. And if you guys know, that process is a very long, tedious process.
Yeah.
So I did make an appointment with that DMV. I didn't want to go out there and wait for 2 hours. They denied me. I went to the one in Carencro. They welcomed me with open arms. They gave me my federal ID, and here I am.
Okay. So there's a few more comments that I'd like you to address. I want to get my sponsors, the other two, because we went over my 15-minute kind of mark where I wanted to do that. So let me go ahead and get that in. So first one, Music Academy of Acadiana. Unleash your musical potential with the Music Academy of Acadiana. Look, They teach music. They have all the instruments. They teach audio production. It's a great local company founded by UL Lafayette Music School graduate Tim Benson. They've won national recognition and are consistently voted as a top music school since 2016. Their goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, and to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers. You can check them out at their website, musicacademyacadiana.com. It's on your screen, and I just said it. Take a screenshot or go back and listen to it again. Music Academy of Acadiana. Check them out. And then our newest sponsor, EPS, or Electronic Protection Systems, which is their full name. They are a local company with 20 years in the business. They have some of the best home security systems and commercial security systems. They also have whole home water conditioning units or solutions. I actually have both of their products, not because they're sponsoring, because I bought these products way in advance and then said, hey, I like the product so much, you should sponsor my podcast. So they are a great local company. They just recently expanded to Houston, Texas. So if you have friends and family in Houston, they can get their security systems and all that stuff set up there. So a little bit about the security. You can go get started with 0 down payment, no out-of-pocket expenses, no long-term contracts. You got month-to-month services. You got 24/7 professional monitoring, and it's really inexpensive. It's like $20 a month for the monitoring service. So once your equipment is paid off, or if you have your own, it's $20 a month, and you can control the system with your smartphone, all that good stuff, your locks, your garage door, etc. Because, you know, I tend to always forget to set mine at home, so I just pop my phone up and turn it on. And then their whole home water system, it's I describe it as butter water. Butter water. It's so weird to say. So when I take a shower, it just feels so smooth and it doesn't feel hard. It basically takes the hard water, strips it of all of its hard waterness, and it improves the taste and smell. You can virtually replace water bottles. So like all the water in your house is pretty much purified. It reduces the contaminants like chlorine and lead. Your skin and hair feels better. I know mine does because I had dry skin for a while and my skin's actually more supple than it ever has been. And I'm just being honest. You can check them out. They have a referral link that they provided me that I had set up. It's link.developinglafayette.com/EPS. If you want to get started with the security system or a home water system, go to that link and they will send me a referral check for telling you guys about it. Anyway. All right.
I need that home water system because my hair is dry and my skin are dry. And Music Academy, they are amazing. I actually bought piano lessons from them for a family member. Yes.
Great testimony there.
They are, yes.
Okay, so going into some more of the comments here.
Throw them at me.
Huh? Throw them at you? All right.
All of them.
Okay.
Even the bad ones.
All right, so here we go. We're going to go deep into it. All right, so this person has commented a few times. So it looks like she said that the Louisiana Department of Revenue has no record of your filing tax records. So what like would you want to address that? Like what does that person say? There's no record of tax records.
That's not possible. I did file my taxes last year. This year, I did file federal taxes. Louisiana, I did file for an extension. The year prior would be 2021. So I did do my taxes, but I'm pretty sure I did both states. If not both states, I'd have to go back and look at those tax records. So if they want me to pull 2021, I will put that online for them. I can put it on my website. I can put it on Facebook. May I have the name of the person?
So the person's name, Amy Robinson.
Yes, I believe she is the one that's been viciously attacking me a lot. If Miss Amy Robinson wants to do a meet and greet, she's more than welcome to. And I can actually email her if she doesn't want my tax records out in public. But yes, everything's available.
So it's funny. Tax records seem to be the most common denominator in a lot of political arenas here. So specifically talking about Trump. He's apparently, I don't know if he's ever released his tax records since being elected. So is it one of those things where...
Oh, he was forced to release.
Okay, so we
have his tax records.
Okay. I guess I've given up on following the whole situation. So this is not a case like that where your tax records are still in process for certain things. I know you said you might have had an extension on Louisiana.
Right. And if there is any type of discrepancies for 2021, I will remind the public that my townhouse did burn down at the time, and I was in the process of just moving everything. I was going back and forth from Texas to Louisiana. So if there is some type of discrepancy, I will take care of it. But what do they want with my taxes, my tax return? Like what information is on there that I can't give them?
Look,
that they don't know.
That is a good question. I'm just here to have a conversation. So
I can tell them, they can ask me like, what do you buy at the store? They can ask me how much my car payment is. They can ask me.
I think what they're trying to do is prove residency with it shows that you were filing taxes here maybe.
Well, if I always pay my taxes in the state of Louisiana. So yes, I'm not going to do anything like that. And I prove my residency with my leases.
And then, so Amy also comments again saying that, and I quote, and I'll pull up the comment. So she's been here, just not legally.
Legally,
I don't know what
does that
that means, but maybe I guess legally registered to vote. But
register to vote. What does that have to do legally? Did I break a law?
I don't know, Amy, if you're still listening, maybe
Isn't she the one that's at the head of that petition that the lawyers filed against me?
maybe so. So I have one of the articles pulled up here. It's from the Current.
I have it on my Mac. If I can pull
Yeah, you can definitely pull whatever you need out. So I'm looking at the currentla.com. That's what I'm looking at as far as.
I posted it on my Facebook page.
Okay.
So you can probably go to my Facebook page and see.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one also cites, I mean, it pulls a couple of quotes that you had made as well. So, so I'll kind of just read a little bit of the first part of the article. It says, a lawsuit challenging the qualification of Priscilla Gonzalez in the race for Lafayette mayor president was filed Wednesday morning by a local good government activist. The suit claims Gonzalez failed to meet the residency requirements of Lafayette's home rule charter and that she falsely certified she had filed federal and state income taxes over the past 5 years. And it says on August 10th, the final day of qualifying, the October 14th election, or for the October 14th election, Gonzalez registered to vote in Louisiana and signed qualification papers to run as a Democrat, joining a field of 3 Republicans, incumbent Josh Guillory, Jan Swift, and Blanco. And it continued. It's lengthy, so I won't say the whole thing.
Sure.
But it also says Gonzalez, a political unknown in Lafayette, who previously ran for mayor of Corpus Christi, cuts an unusual profile for a mayor candidate. That word just kind of got me. A self-described leftist, quote, she's taken flack for brandishing campaign swag of the Jeff Landry and bogeyman of Louisiana progressives and Democrats. So like that's the chunk of it. And then there's a quote that says you're up for the challenge of, defending yourself, of course. And then one of the quotes that you had made was, they can bring anything they want against me. They just don't know my history, she says. They don't know I actually sue people for a living, which you did state in the beginning that you go to court quite often.
Yes, I do have a case in federal court. I'm actually going to trial. We're set for 90 days from, I believe it was June. I'm just waiting for the lawyers to actually move their little butts, and I will be going before a court. So I will be traveling to Corpus Christi for federal court. Let me pull up the Facebook post.
And somebody said whenever this person, Brandy Como, says when I looked at Facebook, all I saw was posts about Corpus.
It is Amy Robinson. Well, of course, I reside in Corpus. I used to reside in Corpus. I mean, what's the issue? Is that against the law to reside in Corpus?
So would this be on your personal, is it your personal Facebook that shows more Corpus? Because I looked on the mayor president one, and that one appears to be mostly Lafayette-based.
I changed it to Lafayette, but what exactly do they want? It is Amy Boyd Robinson. So Miss Amy Boyd Robinson, I am going to do an entire oral examination Friday, August 18th. So actually, thank you, Amy, for the challenge. But I would actually approach anything that has to do with the law with great trepidation when it comes to me, because I love having fun in court.
Yeah. So someone made a comment. Ryan Prejean said, why fill out a petition? Vote for who you want. If you don't want to vote for her, don't. Simple as that. I welcome having options in a political race. Nice to have options. So there's a comment that wasn't coming straight at you. Amy has another comment saying, focusing on everyone to register except herself. I'm not sure where that comes from, because Amy does a lot of investigative work. So there's probably a bunch of stuff that she's pulling that I don't have access to.
Can you ask Amy how much did she retain the lawyers for, or did they do that for pro bono?
So, Amy, you heard.
I just want to see where the funding is coming from, because if she's getting pro bono lawyers, she might want to actually start looking at getting a lawyer that she's going to actually have to pay for.
All right, there you go. And
look, more importantly, Amy needs to also, maybe if she wants to focus on registering people to vote. So if Amy has lawyers that are working pro bono, if they actually want to help me get October 1st voter polls open, I would greatly appreciate that help. That is for the entire public, not just solely for me.
Okay. I just want to remind everybody watching that we are a nonpartisan platform. So if I do say anything that tends to sound like it leans one way or the other,
it's not.
It's definitely not the views of Developing Lafayette or the T Podcast or any of our sponsors. So just letting you know that. So, yeah, and thank you for letting me know it's not, or it doesn't seem like it. I'm trying my best to be a neutral guy here because I'm just learning about all of the stuff coming at you today.
I just need people to know that I'm not here to fight. I'm not here for war. I'm not here to start drama. I'm here to run for a position that is desperately in need. I'm here for the people. I'm here to represent every single voice that is not represented. And we know who those minorities are. I'm here to represent the people. I'm an open book. I'm transparent. And right now, the Democrats are eating their own party. So if they don't want to vote for me, that's fine. They're just wasting the court's time, and they're actually wasting taxpayer dollars on all of this stuff. So again, is Amy paying these lawyers, or are they doing this work pro bono?
That's a good question. Amy, you're probably still listening, so feel free to respond to that, and I'll try to watch for that comment. So what is the main goal for you, I guess, if you get elected? What is the first thing out of the gate that you're going to do besides lowering the salary for mayor president? What major thing that everybody in the city and the parish would benefit from if you did what you wanted to do?
My main goal is to serve the people. My main goal is for when I am actually elected, I will be sending out a survey that hopefully everybody can complete. My main goal is to get every single resident that resides in Lafayette, Louisiana, registered to vote. My main goal is to give everybody a voice, whether you can read or write. I was downtown Lafayette, Louisiana. People don't want to vote, people that are homeless, people that need problems, just even getting an ID. It's hard. If someone like me had a very difficult time, even with 7 different forms of identification to get an ID, can you imagine how hard? There's also no heat shelter in Lafayette, Louisiana. We have our bus systems that don't have air conditioning. Now,
talking about school buses or city buses?
School buses.
Okay.
I mean, come on. This is not a third world country. We are in a heat wave. So I know that doesn't fall on the mayor. I know that falls on the school board and LPSS. But how is that even possible? Like, I have a family member that might conceivably be on that bus. Children might get heat strokes. It's record heat. And yes, it's August. But what about next year? What about the year after that? We have a shortage of buses. We have a shortage of teachers. Something's not working. And for the most part, Lafayette is thriving and it's booming. And I mean, businesses, I follow your page for that particular reason. I can't wait for Topgolf to get here because
I appreciate it. Yeah.
I love playing golf. And they just opened a new driving range. I'm dying to go there. I did hit my first par last July 4th, which I was really excited. But Lafayette is a beautiful city. And I'm just trying to give every single person a voice, we shouldn't have people on the streets. We shouldn't have people who are homeless. We shouldn't have, people that are on the streets because we don't have enough Section 8 vouchers. We shouldn't have people who are struggling with drug addiction. We shouldn't have all of these things that are, they're like minute little problems that just need a little bit of tweaking. But none of this should be happening. Our students should be going in an air-conditioned bus. I actually made a comment. Can I pay for an air-conditioned like for a bus? Like, is that what it comes down to? I see plenty of golf carts running around. I don't know if you guys saw the golf carts that the consolidated government just got, like this nice little picture of a bunch of golf carts. And my head wanted to explode. Somebody tagged me in the picture last night, and I was like, well, can the kids ride the golf carts to school? Because if that's possible, let's do that. But imagine putting 30 children in a closed bus, even if they open the windows. There's a reason why we can't leave dogs in hot cars, because they will be unalived, right? So there's just a lot of little tweaking here and there. I don't see the mayor rushing to anybody's help. I did see the mayor raise his salary. I'm capping him at $50,000. I'm actually holding, and I want to ask Ms. Jan Swift, Mr. Josh Guillory, Ms. Blanco, if they're willing to take a $50,000 a year salary. The median income in Lafayette, Louisiana is $50,000. Why do they need more money than that? And why can't we sponsor nonprofit organizations, give the money back to the taxpayer dollars, and or fund something that the community needs?
Yeah. So speaking of, I guess, salary for the mayor president, one of the things that was coming at Josh Guillory in the beginning, and I don't know if it's still an issue, is that he had other jobs, other work that he was doing outside of mayor president position, and with the position comes the expectation that this is your sole job. This is your sole, I don't know if it's the sole income, because I'm pretty sure if you have a rental property, I don't know if you have to give that up, or I don't know if you have to hand it off to someone else. But like, would this be your sole duty and position without having other side gigs per se?
I don't need a side gig. I survive off $26,000 a year. 50,000 is even way too much for me. So, like I said, I live very frugally. I was born as a food stamp baby. I do know what it's like to be poor. I do know what it's like to be hungry. I'm fortunate to say that I do have privilege. I'm fortunate to say that I have worked. I just turned 39 a couple of days ago. I'm fortunate to say that I'm in the position that I am right now because I've worked with mentors. I've studied. I have my bachelor's. I did my tenure at a law firm. I do have experience with legislation. I do have my personal finance guy. I'm perfectly okay with serving the community 24/7. I'm already doing it right now. If you message me at 2 a.m. and I wake up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m., I will respond. Right now there's a tsunami of comments that I have to get back and respond to. I am going to do an interview with KATC next. But more importantly, I'm available. Everything's available. All of my social medias are all public. You are speaking to me. If you text me, if you call me, it is me that you are speaking to. You're not speaking to my volunteers. And I have a few volunteers, but they are mainly just doing the groundwork. They're running numbers. They're making sure that I'm on every single platform. They're making sure that I respond to every comment. And they're making sure that I'm just doing my job, basically. So I do have people that are holding me accountable.
Yeah. You're not married or have any spouse or anything like that, right?
No, I've made the decision of I'm very content and happy. I don't have time for a partner, and I just don't need one.
Okay, just checking, because being able to be that responsive, especially if we have a family, that's hard to do. So, and I do appreciate you being responsive in setting up this podcast, because I'll be honest, I thought to myself, there is no way that amongst because before today you had heat coming at you, but it's increased. The heat's been turned up. And I, even whenever we were scheduling this, I had little belief that you were going to actually make the decision to come on, because Josh Guillory, I reached out to him in the beginning before he was elected, and he never wanted to come on prior to election because he was getting so much heat himself and he was in the middle of a race. And so I'm thankful, though, I'll be honest, to have you on and being that responsive.
I can actually, a few weeks ago, I sliced my foot open. If I sliced my foot open yesterday or today, I would still be here. So
I would not expect that.
There is nothing that I turned down. The only thing I turned down was going outside and running at 2 p.m. But they told me that we need to talk in person instead of running with a club, a running club, which I do love working out. I do go to Reds. Unfortunately, right now, I'm not working out as often. But when it comes to my campaign, I have put a lot of things aside. For example, I don't work out as often. I'm not traveling as often. But however, I have all of my family in check. They're all fully aware. I give everybody a little percent of my time. They know that I'm a pretty busy woman because I do work full time and I am managing my campaign full time. But if I am elected, the public will have me 24/7. I do not have, a husband or a spouse or children. I do not desire to have children for the rest of my life. I'm almost 40. And I don't need a spouse. I'm pretty content.
Well, hey, that is perfectly fine. There's obviously no reason for that to be an issue. But so going into a couple more of the questions, because I don't know how many we have. I just know that it still says that we have new comments that I have to scroll through. So Amy Cormier has asked, and I'm trying my best to screen the comments to make sure that they're relevant to ask. But she says, if she were elected and was successfully able to get her salary reduced by almost $100,000, what areas in the budget or items would you push for those funds to go towards to go back into the community? And I think you alluded to that a little bit.
Yes.
But specifically, you mentioned the school buses not having ACs. Where would you want those funds to be directed?
It's $120,000. That's for the public to decide. If the public decides on funding school bus ACs, I will do that. I'm actually going to pull a vote for that also. Not sure how that exactly is going to come out. It's not going to be the city council's decision. But again, it's $120,000. If you guys want to give that back to our schools so they can have AC, which is I can't. My dogs don't even live without AC. That's
most people's dogs.
That's extremely ridiculous. We also don't have an AC shelter for people who are homeless to go to in Lafayette, which I know that every single city does, but I have not found one. If you know of one, please let me know.
There's a place called the Hub, I believe. Is there? I don't know too much about it. I know there's a homeless shelter. And then I know Catholic Charities does stuff, but I mean, I wouldn't be able to fully 100% confirm that without looking it up. But I mean,
but again, that's to the public, and it's over 120,000. If the public wants me to drop my salary to 40,000, I will drop it to 40. Like I said, I only need 26,000 to survive. I'm pretty content and pretty happy. I was raised by parents who are not in the military, but they raised me military style. I'm very disciplined. You respect mom and dad, and you make them proud. So that's how I live my life.
Yeah. Okay. So Jonathan Williams asked, what direction would you take LUS Fiber?
LUS Fiber. I do need a little bit of, that would actually be to the public. I'm not entirely 100% educated on that, on the LUS Fiber. If you can ask him, if he can give me a little bit more context on exactly what it is he's asking, because he's just asking for a direction.
Okay. Yeah. He just asking for a direction, at least from what it looks like. And I'll leave it open for those people that are commenting, and open for you that if you want to engage in the comment section after the fact, feel free to plug in and answer questions and,
of course,
respond if you wish.
May I ask him, what is the issue with LUS Fiber with him?
Okay, yeah. So Jonathan, you just heard her ask what the issue is in your opinion for LUS Fiber. I think he was just wondering because LUS Fiber is it's our flagship technology thing. I mean, we're in the Light Center here, and it's a big infrastructure for technology and communication here. So I think and also expanding fiber outside of Lafayette is something that's being done right now. I know Ville Platte, I think with Kamala Harris, her campaign and her promise to the people was to extend broadband connections throughout rural areas. So I think fiber is going out that way. So I guess in that context.
That's good. And I'm all for it. Expanding LUS Fiber, yes. But I didn't know if he had like one particular issue, like himself with LUS Fiber.
Yeah, my service is not good. No, it's not that.
If your service is not good, well, if I am elected, you will have my cell phone, call my office, email, and I will be there for the public. And I will be hosting open forum discussions. I'm doing it downtown Lafayette. Obviously, the heat is a little bit excessive. So I will be out there 7 p.m. Hopefully tomorrow. I did plan on being there today. If God allows me to be there today, I will be there today.
Okay. So just there's so many comments.
It's fine. You can go ahead and read.
Okay, so just reading down some Amy, and a lot of them are Amy because Amy's aggressive here.
We love Amy.
Okay. Amy says Lafayette doesn't need more negligence. Continue on. The state statute requires an LA driver's license within 30 days. I guess that's whenever you relocate. So if you come from Texas to Louisiana, you're required to have a change of license within 30 days.
Okay.
So I don't know what that looks like on as far as your position.
I have to go back and look at the laws. Like I said, right before coming here is when her lawyers has she responded on how she's paying her lawyers?
Let me see. Okay, so she said it looks like this might be in response to that. She said she can't upload a screenshot here, but she'll gladly provide a copy of engagement letter. Maybe that's something to do with that.
What is an engagement letter? Are they doing it pro bono or not? That's my question.
Let's see. There's a lot of content here, so
there's also a thing called frivolous suits. So when a law firm actually files a frivolous suit, you complain with the Louisiana State Bar.
Okay. Have no clue what that is. You just
so when lawyers actually file frivolous paperwork, you actually file a complaint against those lawyers, and then they actually look into it, kind of like the Louisiana Board of Ethics. But regarding the laws in the state of Louisiana, I did comply with everything. It does say NID or a driver's license will suffice. So again, I do have a federal ID. If Miss Amy Robinson wants me to move my driver's license, I'm more than willing to do that. But that's up to the state, and that's up to, actually, I did speak with the Louisiana Board of Ethics. They said everything's fine with me. I do have their phone number, and I do speak with them on a daily basis. I did speak with the county clerk. They said, I'm fine. They have nothing to do with it. So it's basically going to be whatever court, whatever judge's time they want to waste. We'll go ahead and do that because, again, this is coming out of taxpayer dollars.
Okay. So see if I can find a question. So Chris, he just says, this episode is juicy. Thank you, Chris.
It shouldn't be juicy. It should be focused on registering people to vote. If everybody just registers 10 people to vote, anybody that you encounter, get people out to the polls. Again, we are advocating for getting October 1st as a voting poll location. If those lawyers are doing pro bono work, I will be reaching out to them. Maybe they can help me since they love doing pro bono work. But more importantly, I will be filing a petition, probably with the state.
Okay. So Amy responds not necessarily to anything particular. She says, look, Ben, I don't have anything personal against her. She doesn't meet residency requirements. This isn't the first time I have had someone DQ'd or I guess disqualified. It's nothing personal.
No, it's not personal. And I actually appreciate her for staying engaged, and I appreciate her looking out for her city. But again, my question is, did she pay these lawyers, or are they doing it pro bono?
Okay. Well, that is, I'm scrolling through. So there's one long comment. I'll save that for conversation in the comments section. So Courtney Olivier asked, what is Priscilla's stance on LGBTQIA rights here in Lafayette?
Sure. So I hosted I co-hosted one of the first Corpus Christi Pride parades. I do stand with my LGBTQIA community. My brother is transgender. I would take a bullet for that community, and that has been my response. You did see me, and I posted it on Facebook. If you Google Priscilla Gonzalez Corpus Christi Pride Parade, you will see me standing at the very forefront of the entire parade holding a huge flag And the LGBTQIA community is a community that, like I said, I would take a bullet for. And I'm very proud of my brother. I'm very proud of the community. I'm very proud to fight for them. I am an advocate and I am with them.
I see you have a pride flag heart sticker on the back of your phone. So
Yes,
that connects.
there's a huge pride flag in my trunk as we speak.
Amy, I'm not this dumb. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to facilitate a conversation that I feel like
She might come after you.
she
Be
might.
careful.
Hey, Amy, look, I'm trying my best. I have a bunch of information, but this is all new to me, so I'm just trying to ask questions that I feel like I would ask a lot of people, and then the comment sections do help. So forgive me if I sound dumb. I am not the smartest person in politics.
No, actually, for her to say that is a little bit disrespectful. So I would actually ask her to tone down her rhetoric. It's very rude and disrespectful. It's not really, it's unethical, and she knows that.
Well, I don't take offense to it, Amy. I just know that I am doing my best. All right, so
There's a certain level of decorum that people follow, and I would ask her to tone down her rhetoric.
okay. So she says, and she's pretty active, registering everyone to vote except herself. I guess I was talking about focusing on getting other people,
I'm
people
registered to vote, and actually in my last campaign, I dedicated myself towards registering people who couldn't read and write to vote.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
So Kevin Richard asks, why hasn't she voted in Louisiana if every vote is so important? She's lived here for almost 3 years.
Because I was still registered to vote in Texas.
Got it. Because you did just register to vote.
Yes, I'm registered to vote here, and I will be obviously voting in this election. But actually, last election, I was trying really hard to get involved. I almost ran against Clay Higgins, but I thought I was too new of a comer. But apparently, 3 years is not enough for people either. Can you ask Amy how long does she want me to reside here to actually be qualified to run for office? Like, how many years does she need? Okay. Does she need like a decade or 20 years or 30 years?
So I'll let her respond to that if she decides. So I was going to ask, since you've been here for roughly 2 to 3 years, where have you served outside of politics? Have you served on any nonprofits, or have you volunteered in any nonprofits or any community work?
Of course. I have a big list of resumes. Like I said, I started a Corpus Christi Beach Cleanup Club in Corpus Christi. I worked with the helping homeless community, and I'm talking about in person. I volunteered with Special Arts in the Art. I volunteered with Raices, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated towards providing pro bono services towards undocumented immigrants. I did work on legislation like the PACT Act. That was just my time. I have done tons of community service.
But in Lafayette, have you done anything in Lafayette?
In Lafayette, I reached out to Moncus Part. No, I did not. The only thing that I've done in Lafayette is actually served my stepdad. So what I've been doing is, since he was, he pretty much almost lost his life, I've been his advocate. So I've been working with the Department of Health, with with the Louisiana Department of Health. I just was granted power of attorney over him. That's a huge responsibility. I am trying to get him and my mom to a better living situation. The housing here in Lafayette is not up to par. Like I said, Section 8 is not really good. I did talk to Clubhouse. So they are a nonprofit that's actually dedicated towards providing services towards senior citizens with mental health issues. I did help 2 people who are actually trying to file lawsuits against their employers for wrongful termination, and that's just guiding them, talking with the EEOC, and that's the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. So that's an entire state issue. Their office is located in New Orleans. I am helping 2 people, one who is trying to get a work visa, an undocumented immigrant. Another one, I'm trying to get him permission so he can go see his mother in Honduras. And I'm working out and reaching out to whomever I can.
Yeah. I guess so. This is a personal question, and this is and me, Amy, trying to be smarter here. Okay.
That was mean. That was really mean.
No, it's fine. Okay. Because I can get pretty snarky on the internet too.
There's no need for that type of level of just hostility.
So regarding homelessness, And I mentioned a couple of organizations.
Can I correct you? It's called houselessness because they have a home. They don't have a house.
Okay.
It's a more progressive term.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
changing it to houseless.
So, so would that'd be going on a tangent. I won't go there.
Sure.
So houselessness, because every organization that is in Lafayette that does anything with people on the street, it's referred to as homelessness. So just broad stroking it for people that are listening that may don't want to get mixed up on terms. So houselessness, homelessness, whichever term you want to use at the moment. When we were talking about organizations not having AC'd shelters, and I mentioned Catholic Charities does stuff. I think they do stuff with St. Joseph Diner, which is the soup kitchen. I guess I don't know if that's the correct term, but it's essentially what it is.
Term, soup kitchen.
So, and then also there's an organization called the Hub, and I believe it's a homeless shelter or an organization that helps with people on the street. If your mission is primarily focused on helping underprivileged people living on the street or what have you, why haven't you? I mean, obviously you were taking care of your stepdad, but why not get involved in some way, shape, or form with those organizations that were helping towards your cause that you really aim for?
Sure. Well, if they were doing their jobs, we wouldn't have houseless people here. So they're clearly not doing their jobs at 100%, or we actually need more programs. So my I wouldn't say it's my priority. I wouldn't say it's my entire campaign. It's a percentage of my campaign. So it's like I said, I'm here 100% for the people, and that's for every single group. Not everybody is houseless, obviously. But what I would say is I'm going to make them a priority. I'm going to obviously there's a designated person that's job is to actually work with the houseless community, but there's a little bit of tweaking that needs to be done, and I do want to kind of oversee that, and I do actually want to help them.
Okay, so I'm part of Leadership Lafayette, and I don't know if you are familiar with that.
I've heard of Leadership Lafayette.
So it's the Leadership Institute of Acadiana, and this is a sub program. It's Leadership Lafayette. So basically, it's a not quite a year, but they call it a year. Basically, from February to about November, one day out of the month, and then there's several days in between there that are not mandatory to graduate the class, but there's different things you can do. So one of the days that we had that was a nonprofit day, a communities day. We had several organizations come through, and one of those organizations was, I believe that was the Catholic Charities, and talking about homelessness or houselessness. And then they threw out a statistic, and I believe the statistic was that in Lafayette, I don't know about the parish, I think maybe they're talking about the city, but in Lafayette in general, that they are only about 400 individuals that are considered houseless.
That's way too many.
But still significantly less than other bigger cities.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's 400 people without shelter.
But they are doing everything they can, at least from what I've understood.
We need to do more.
Well, obviously we need to do more. We need to do a lot more.
I'm pretty sure $120,000 would be a good use there too.
But is throwing money at that going to fix it?
It's not going to fix it 100%, because I can't even promise you that 400 people will be off the streets when I'm elected. I can tell you that I will fight for them, and I can tell you that is the mayor out there meeting them in person? Like, what is happening? Because I don't see anything happening. I see the city ousting our houselessness. I don't see them anywhere. And it's suffice to say, I don't even live in like a really nice part of town. Everybody has my address, but I don't see that many people. If they do drive a bike, there was one that was actually driving a bike close to River Ranch. He was holding a sign, and I paid him. I told him, I was like, you need to move because you are going to get ticketed. And I went up to him and he said, they do ticket me all the time. I pay the ticket and I come back. They just don't understand. So 400 people is just way too much. How many shelters do we have in Lafayette, Louisiana?
God, good question. Let me see if I can Google it real quick.
I could probably get on. I just don't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, let's see. Give me a second. I'm pulling it up. How many shelters are in Lafayette, Louisiana? Shelter listings. See if I can. So we got Acadiana Outreach Center, Lafayette. It's a lighthouse shelter for women. We got St. Joseph Shelter for men. We got St. Michael's Center for Veterans of Lafayette. Right. Lafayette City Housing Authority, which I don't know if that's a shelter. No, it's just an organization. So it's a housing authority, low income, affordable housing, and public housing.
That's different.
And then we got Smile Housing Services, transitional housing.
No, so I would say there's only 3.
And so there are other options. So they got Bro Bridge, there's Dusson, there's Church Point. And so outside of Lafayette, it branches out a little bit farther.
Right, but so we have all women, all men, and then we have veterans. I don't think that 400 people. It just depends on if they're probably at max capacity, which is probably. Well, of course, then someone's not doing their job. We can't, if those shelters are full, the city needs to move. So we got a bunch of golf carts available. I don't know if we can actually kind of mobilize them into little homes.
Oh man, yeah, that would be crazy. All right,
did you see that picture?
I did not see that picture. I see golf carts on Facebook all the time. Most of it has to do with Sugar Mill Pond and Youngsville. So I want to see if I can get to a few more of the comments. Amy did ask, why does it matter? I guess to your question of, is it paid or pro bono?
I'll find out regardless.
Okay.
I can just speak with the lawyers.
So
it does matter. And it matters because it's taxpayer dollars.
Okay. Let's see. So Courtney Olivier says she'll ask again, what has been done and will be done here in Lafayette?
I think the entire time that I've been here, unless she wants me to do a recap of everything.
Okay.
We've already covered a lot of issues. If there's anything in particular that she needs, she can just ask the question.
All right. So Kevin Richard again asked, registering at the same time as you declare you are running isn't helping your case. So, I mean, you gotta see how odd that does look.
It's not against the law, is it?
It may not be against the law, but it does look a little funny. Well, let's just be honest.
So it looks funny. So the shape of my head looks funny.
No, it does not.
Come on. It's just,
okay.
I'm registered to vote. I'm going to vote. Nothing is going to get me out of me qualifying. If the state of Louisiana wants to get me off the ballot, that's fine. I will accept it. I still have the offer if Miss Amy wants to open up a change.org and get every single citizen, that's the exact same number as the population of Lafayette, to sign that petition. And if she wants to send that to me, I can help her get some signatures too, and I can actually advocate for it. But again, I will find out how she paid these lawyers or if they're doing it pro bono, because we are using the court's time, and that is taxpayer dollars.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you'll get that many signatures.
Let's see, what's the population of Lafayette?
So it should be about 120, 130 maybe?
Yes, if she wants to get $120,000 signatures, 1,000 signatures, she can work at that, and I'll drop out. That's probably an easier way not to waste taxpayer dollars going through the court system.
So James Colvin asked, and sorry, James, I'm just seeing your comments, so I don't know if you're still watching. Who will you endorse for governor? And I don't know. I don't think you said that you endorsed Jeff Landry.
I didn't say I will, and I didn't say that I won't.
Okay.
That is for me to decide. Right now, I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with Wilson. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with every other Republican. I do go down. I read their resumes. I read their qualifications. I read what policy they've worked on. Obviously, Attorney Jeff Landry is poised to win because Democrats do a really good job at getting Republicans to win here in Louisiana. They eat their own party. But when my endorsement does come out, you guys will see it on Facebook.
Okay. Have you ever endorsed a Republican candidate before?
No.
Okay. So if this were to be a situation where you do endorse Jeff Landry, this will be the first time. And does that not make you afraid? Obviously, you don't look like you're afraid of much.
I don't. No, the only thing I fear is Mike Pence.
Mike Pence? Okay.
Yes, he scares me. So I don't fear much other than losing my mother, which she's my best friend. But when it comes to Republicans, I get their support more than Democrats. So as of right now, if I could probably switch over back to Republican, I probably would. But if Democrats don't want to support me, that's fine. But my question to them is, who are they going to vote for? Are they going to vote for someone who switched from Democrat to Republican just to get on the ballot and to get the Republican vote? Or are they going to vote for Josh? Or are they going to vote for Ms. Swift?
Yeah. So kind of going back to the serving, kind of being a part of Lafayette in general, because you, like I said, you lived here 2 or 3 years. I know you had the thing with your stepdad. Have you ever donated money since maybe volunteering is kind of difficult? Have you ever donated money to organizations that you are championing or anything like that?
My time
in Lafayette.
My time is worth more than money. So like I said, women that I'm working with who are actually trying to sue their employers, there's no nonprofit like that. And I'm actually looking to open up a law firm in DC because that's the only state that allows you to open up a law firm without you actually having to be a lawyer. I will be running that law firm from Lafayette, Louisiana, and I will be running it as a nonprofit law firm, basically, or a nonprofit entity. So what that's going to do and what I'm going to focus on is helping women and people who actually are wrongfully terminated sue their employers for wrongful termination. Because for the most part, people don't know, but it's not that hard. We genuinely don't need lawyers. There's not one thing that a lawyer can do that I cannot do. I can read, write, I can try a case in court. I have worked a tenure at a law firm. I was a paralegal in the state of Texas. However, they don't get paid that much, which is why I went into a director of marketing. I did successfully grow a law firm from 30 employees to 100 employees. That law firm now is worth millions of dollars. I did a great job over there back in Corpus Christi, Texas, which is why I was so loved by the community. I have a really good resume. I do have endorsements coming from Corpus Christi, Texas, which I'm really proud of, and I'll be posting those later. I'm actually hesitant to post that because then they're going to see, oh, she's working with Corpus Christi now. But Corpus Christi is a beautiful city, and I want to thank already organizations that are reaching out to me, giving me their endorsements and their permission to actually just post their logos or market for them. But I'm here for small businesses. I'm here for infrastructure. I'm here for the voiceless. I'm here for a houseless community. I'm here for blue collar, I'm here for everybody. I'm here to serve the community. I'm here with good intentions.
Yeah. Why do you believe you didn't get the mayor position in Corpus Christi?
I know exactly why I didn't get the position. I knew I wasn't going to win, but I did raise a lot of awareness, and I did register thousands of people to vote.
Awareness for what?
Awareness for the actual just elections in general, because people don't pay attention to politics, but they are paying attention to politics here now. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to get out to the polls.
So essentially, going back to what I had asked, kind of shaking things up. I mean, I know you said you're not here to shake things up, but it feels like you are shaking things up.
I wasn't trying to shake things up. I'm just trying to run for a position that I know I'm qualified to.
Okay. Okay. So somebody asked, actually, she is a Leadership Lafayette classmate. Her name's Shira Moran.
Okay. Lafayette leadership classmate.
Yeah. Okay. So she is says she is just tuning in, and I don't know where this comment falls on the timeline because we're at almost an hour and 25 minutes.
Okay.
But she asked, "What are your plans for Northside and our food desert?" So Northside has a food desert because of its location and not being super close to too many of the fresh food options.
Right. So I was speaking with a few candidates who will remain nameless. That is a huge problem, and I will work in conjunction with City Council, and we will put forward a plans. But I'm fully aware of that issue that's happening right now. A lot of candidates that are running for council right now are running on those issues.
Yeah. So like just off the top of your head, like what would be one of the first things that you would like to see done in that area?
Access and easy access to organic food, easy access to.
But what does that look like?
That's actually a huge project. If you actually think about that, I can't promise and say that there's going to be a natural grocers at every location, but it's just a matter of tweaking and improving and working with the city, working with businesses, encouraging businesses to move more towards the north side. And that includes improving the north side. That also includes improving intersections where people are unalive just by walking down the street, because a lot of intersections are extremely dangerous. And that also the north side does need a lot of improvement. I'm fully aware of that issue.
I mean, Northside has been on the neglect for a while.
Houselessness, food desert. I mean, we desperately need new leadership, and I'm here for that. Thank you for that question.
Yeah. So that was Shira.
Shira, thank you for that question,
Shira. Man, the comments kind of, I think we're getting close to the end of the comments here, so that might be good.
Hearing of a food desert is actually extremely depressing. We do have Lafayette community fridges that we do have out there, and, inflation, we can't deny it. I had to budget down. My dogs went from expensive dog treats to treats they don't want, and they're like, what is going on? So then I actually downgraded them to cabbage and carrots.
Oh wow, poor things.
But no, it's good for them. It's good for their digestion system.
Okay, so Kevin Richard says and I'll put the comment up there. So he says, "I'm so confused. Did you just say you wish you could change to being a Republican ? Exclamation point. And he said, I might be wrong, and if so, you can ignore this question. I thought I heard that. So yes, I did hear that as well, Kevin.
I said that because Democrats right now are attacking me so vicious. I'm telling you. Like, there was tears coming out from a family member, not from me. My family's members are like texting me, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, yeah, why would I not be okay? Like, they're giving me publicity, but more importantly, they're wasting taxpayer dollars, which is not a good thing. And they're focusing a lot on me. They need to focus on registering people who are not registered to vote. To register to vote, they need to focus on getting October 1st as a voting day. They need to focus on getting people to the polls this election season. And more importantly, has Amy said how she's paying her lawyers?
I don't think that has come through yet. And I don't know if she's going to provide. No, she has not provided that information yet.
Okay, great.
Amy did ask, what is your plan, in all caps? So I don't know if you have any plan.
My plan is to serve the community.
Yeah.
My plan is to serve Amy. My plan is to be a beacon for the community. My plan is to serve you. My plan is to improve the quality of life of every single citizen, even those who are not registered to vote. My plan is to get everybody registered to vote. My plan is to not have all of these issues like a food desert, like the north side, like people being unalived in the street because we don't have lights at an intersection. I mean, these are people's lives that we're dealing with. This is not a third world country. We should not be having a food desert. People should have access to good food, to clean food, to organic food. It shouldn't be this way. And yes, I live at like a very nice part of town, but not the extremely wealthy part of town. I'm okay because I know and I'm educated and I can manage my finances and I can, my family, we're extremely close. Mexican culture teaches you to respect your family, live a long and healthy and happy life. And my life is with my family. My life is with the community. I'm here to serve the community. That is my plan.
Okay. You mentioned community fridges, and
Yes.
it's so interesting that you mentioned that because we're trying to figure out, the organizations that need help. And you mentioned in particular Lafayette community fridges, and that is a very specific thing that you mentioned. Have you donated food to those fridges?
The fridges, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. I don't take anything, but yes, if there's something needed, if you see Domino's pizza there, that is mine. And yes, I donate. I drop off little boxes, anything that I don't buy. But again, I don't buy stuff that I don't need. I have like pretty much one of everything. But for the most part, yes, I have gone to the community fridges.
Okay.
I've also gone to the little libraries, the little queer libraries that they have. And I do see the lack of books that they do have, and it's very unfortunate.
Is it a lack of books, or is it that books are being taken and used?
I'm going to find out.
Okay. Because they could be being used.
Yes. There was one who I believe was vandalized, which is a very sad story.
So James Colvin says she refuses to actually answer any question.
Have I refused to answer any questions?
I mean, you're answering them. I don't know if they're exactly the way they want them to be answered, but
I've answered every question.
Yeah.
There's not one question that I have not answered.
Brent Broussard asks, so she's basically telling us she has no concrete plan for the Northside. How are you going to improve those intersections, and which intersections are you speaking of?
The intersections, I don't have the names per se because there are too many. From what I gathered, City Council has the list of intersections, but I am going to make that a priority.
So, ideally, if you could help improve safety with the Northside as far as crossing the thruway, for example.
You put lights there. That's what you do. That's
put
how
lights?
you fix it. Yes, that's how you fix it.
So when people are crossing the road, so the thruway, you're familiar with the thruway, I-49 coming in.
Yes.
So I see, and I live in Karen Crow, so a lot of times I'll come in and there are people trying to basically race across the interstate, and there's 4 lanes. There's a large median where they get a second to rest, and there's another 2 lanes. In particular, there is, I think, 1, maybe 2 intersections that are pedestrian light triggered. So you can press a button and cross over, and it's not a vehicle lane, it's just a pedestrian lane, but it's not at all the spots. So if you had to try to solve, if you had to think about a way to solve that particular issue, that one issue of getting people across safely, what would be your thought there?
The only logical conclusion is I would consult with the experts on that. But off the top of my head, I would just, like I said, you consult with experts. When it comes to design, you consult with engineers. But how do you stop animal crossings from actually crossing is you actually build something over so it's like an overpass. That's the only way I could see viable in those dangerous intersections, other than putting stoplights, other than putting just, those red, green, and blue lights. I don't even know what they're called, to be honest with you. I would work with engineers to design something that's not as expensive, something that wouldn't cost the taxpayer dollars an excessive amount of money, kind of like just filing frivolous lawsuits and using the court system for nonsense. I would actually, and again, we also have $120,000 that are up for grabs.
Okay. So you're potentially saying that if it's feasible to build a bridge. over it.
It's not, it wouldn't be a bridge because if you go to Colorado, the way they stop animals from crossing those intersections, they just do like a little overpass. It's not even considered a bridge. It's like such a small, because if you say the word bridge, it's this entire huge development. But that would be the only way. But more importantly, why are people trying to cross that intersection? So
To get to the other side.
well, obviously,
No, there. So
a
so
stoplight, a
so
stoplight, a
in,
stop sign.
in particular, this one spot of the thruway that is right as you go south of I-10,
Okay.
right before you get to Super One, and I don't know if you're familiar with that particular stretch, but there's apartment complexes on the east side
Okay.
of the interstate, and then there on the west side there's a gas station per
Right.
se, and then the Super One is also on the west side. So,
Okay.
in order to get, if you don't have a mode of transportation besides walking or biking, you have to cross the closest accessible spot to your apartment. Unless you go all the way down a service road and then cross.
So then that would be a matter of working with the state. So the only way I could see just logistics is like a little small bridge,
Okay.
like a pedestrian bridge,
Gotcha.
a walkway. But we have to fix, people shouldn't be unalived because they're trying to cross the street. It's just ridiculous.
Gotcha. so,
I see that.
sorry. So the comments are getting funny.
They're not going to stop. We could be here
I know.
all day.
I'm gonna close out in just a second because I do have to go pick up my kid from school in a little bit. So.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
You're crying, laughing.
Forgive me.
You're fine.
Okay. So Elizabeth Saunier says, "Do you know where Northside is?"
Yes, I actually toured Northside because
Okay.
I was helping a candidate who's running for city council in the Northside.
Okay.
Yes,
I
know
figured
where
you did, but it
Northside is.
it's just funny. Okay.
I've been particularly told not to move to the Northside. Yes, I know.
So James Colvin has been pretty blunt with this particular comment. And James, thank you for commenting, by the way. So he's also a part of the LGBTQIA community.
Okay.
So not that he specified that, I just know
Sure,
that. So
sure.
because I know you're an advocate. James says, "We are attacking you because you have a picture with Jeff Landry's campaign." He's pretty blunt.
I know.
So, and I figured that this is when you say Democrats are eating their own. I think it's in response to the pretty polarizing
I know exactly
connections
what
that
Jeff
you've made.
Landry
Yeah.
stands for.
Yeah.
Like as stated before, I haven't endorsed him. Once I
It
endorse,
just feels like, I guess, taking pictures and displaying merch on your fireplace,
I'm
it feels like an endorsement.
No, it's not an endorsement.
I know.
Endorsement is you actually officially endorse
Right,
it.
right.
I actually, if you read the caption to that post, it just says register to vote people. So you could take that as Jeff Landry has a very powerful campaign and he has a lot of manpower. And when I say a lot of manpower is I say Democrats need to get off their butts and get to work because he could be our next governor. So it could be me also warning the public, hey, register to vote because Jeff Landry is out here on steroids. He is our current attorney general, so he is above all of us. But more importantly, if he does become governor, that is going to be a huge threat to the LGBTQIA community. I haven't endorsed him, but if another candidate does not appease me, I'm not saying I'm going to endorse him, but at this moment, I'm not endorsing anyone right now. Sean Wilson is looking like a viable candidate. He has a very good resume. I reached out to his campaign and crickets.
Okay.
So they're not moving.
Yeah.
And if Sean Wilson does not, just like I have to prove myself to the community, I also expect my candidates, my city council, my school board member to prove themselves to me. And then I will actually vote for them and or endorse them.
Okay. And earlier, and it's a little over an hour and a half, so I'm trying to recall some of the things that
Yes.
may have been mentioned. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I heard you mention that Jeff Landry may or may not have some things about his campaign or about his things that he has that is actually good.
That's actually good.
for the state of Louisiana?
I never said that.
Okay.
No.
Because I know you said Clay Higgins has done stuff that's
Oh,
good.
yes, Clay Higgins.
Maybe that's where I'm getting confused.
Clay Higgins behind the doors. If you call his office, he actually also helped another woman who is actually houseless, and she was looking for Section 8. And I met her. She belongs with Clubhouse. She was downtown at Art Walk, and I was speaking with her, and I was like, have you contacted our mayor? She's like, yes, nothing. Have you contacted city council? Nothing. Have you contacted the governor? Nothing.
Clay Higgins.
Who have you contacted that has helped you? She said, Higgins. I was like, well, damn. And there's actually other people that are undocumented and that are immigrants that have advocates for them. And when they reach out to Clay Higgins, he answers the phone. So I don't have that much beef with him. It's just like a public persona that he has to be out there and proud and loud and the way he is.
That's definitely his persona. Okay, so I'm going to try to get through this. I'm going to set a hard cutoff time for around 3 o'clock. I think that's where I want to be safely cut off on this, because I am not Joe Rogan. I can't do 4 or 5 hours. I have a kid to pick up from school. But I am enjoying the conversation. There are some things that I still feel left wanting more from you. But I mean, I think as
I can come back.
as time goes on, I think there'll be some more that you'll post on Facebook, and maybe we can get some more clear answers. Because in the comment section, there are some people who don't quite feel that their questions have been fully answered to the way they were hoping.
What I can do is I can probably work more on the issues. Like somebody said, have you been to Northside? I can go take a picture at Northside. No, I'm just kidding. I can actually focus more on sprucing up my education level or my awareness of what's happening at Northside, what's happening with LUS Fiber, with the questions that I'm going to go back there and try to respond more. I do need to sit down and educate myself more. I'm not going to have the answers to everything.
Right.
And I
clearly don't have a whole lot of answers to a lot of stuff political. So forgive me. Somebody said that I'm doing a decent job, even though I'm not super politically savvy. I do my best to educate myself on a couple of candidates that I feel are the most viable. But I am trying to give the community the ability to hear you out, because you have, whether it's intentional or not intentional, you have rocked the boat, shake the tree. You got apples falling out of the sky, hitting the ground. A lot of people are curious about what's being talked about. So going through. Okay, so Brent Broussard, has she talked any of the community organizations on the North Side or any of their leaders? So you mentioned that you did talk to one of the council people.
I spoke with candidates that are running for office for city council. I haven't specifically spoken with city council.
Okay. But have you reached out to any community members and leaders, like maybe, prominent church figures in the North Side or anything like that? Have you reached out to any of those?
I will be going to every single church, and I am trying to go to different denominations. I'm not sure if I'm welcome at certain ones, but my family is Christian. But for the most part, I will be working on that. Before the end of September, I will guarantee you that I will be reaching out to as many people as possible. It's what I do on a daily, nightly basis. It's the moment I wake up, I am on my campaign trail till 9 p.m. till I go to sleep. I go to sleep at exactly 9 p.m. So just so people know that.
9 p.m. Wow. I don't. I stay up to like 12.
Well, to be honest, maybe 9-ish, 10-ish, you will see me online. And I do host TikTok lives.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to get on a TikTok live and actually speak to me, the TikTok community has actually helped me greatly. I do have a lot of people that are from TikTok that are actually reaching out to me, and they're actually going on my show. So I do host a TikTok live where I talk about issues. Right now, one of the pressing issues is that the state of Louisiana just got $17.7 million. Senator Kennedy actually posted that. $7 million goes to a certain project, $7 million goes to another project, and $3 million goes towards another project. And that is because of the hurricanes Ida and Zeta. And there's another third hurricane that hit this area pretty hard.
Yeah. All right. So going through some quick comments, and then, like I said, at 3 o'clock, I have a hard cutoff, so that's just over 10 minutes. So Shira asked again, can you ask her if she plans to collab with others what are the zip codes she plans to go into first? So,
First.
yeah, I don't know if you know the zip codes right offhand, but
I can tell you 70508, 70503. They want me to like list all the zip codes.
I don't think you have to list them all. Just a couple. I think that was perfectly fine.
I know in 70503, there's streets that desperately need repair. 70508, I'm not that concerned about. I would focus more on the north side. If you could be so gracious as to grab me a bottle of water.
Yeah,
Or
sure
give me
thing.
yours. I'm extremely parched over here. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So, oh, and there was another Amy in the comments. She told me not to get her confused with the other Amy's because they're spelled the same. So that's funny. I'm sorry, Amy's. I don't mean to get y'all confused. If I did, I'm sorry. All right. So Kevin Richard has a comment. He says, if I'd have known I could have tried to help you register to vote a couple of years ago. Sorry, I didn't know you. So okay, register in, okay. Am I reading that right? I don't know you. So how couldn't you find the time to register in almost 3 years? He
Sure.
mentioned he was missing a word.
Sure. So when your stepdad is dying, when he's been in the ICU for months, which actually takes you, and he's still in recovery, when he had a really bad infection, when your mother is actually getting sick and older, I don't know if they actually know how much it takes to be a caretaker to two parents. I do have a full-time job. I was in the process of moving, and it looks like I'm going to be a full-time caretaker to my dad too. So that's 3 people. The reason I didn't register to vote is because, again, it was undecided because of my stepdad's medical condition. So he's already 70 years old. So is my dad. My dad just almost passed away also this past year. So when it comes to family, I'm very close to them. I prioritize my family. However, my mom is actually in really good spirits. She's really healthy. Her health was declining because she was too busy taking care of my stepdad. So I was taking care of my mom, my stepdad, and my dad, as well as trying a case in federal court, which requires a lot of work. But when I first moved here, I did contact the local Lady Dems of Lafayette. I did try to run for office, and had I ran against Clay Higgins, I would have registered to vote. However, I didn't feel like I was qualified at the time, but clearly people don't think I'm qualified right now, such as Amy. So it looks like 3 years is not enough. More importantly, it's just a matter of time. And I will say that I was negligent this year. But again, surgery, it's just a lot of work to overpower. My stepdad did have his last surgery, did have his last knee replacement. He's actually helping me on the campaign trail. Part of his therapy is helping me. He mows the yard. He uses my weed eater. That's part of his therapy. It's just keep moving. More importantly, and when I first moved here, I was like, since I can't vote, I will help register people to vote. That's when my stepdad got really sick. My mom got really sick because she wasn't taking care of herself. I did have to help her get a different doctor because her primary care physician wasn't up to par. So I like to have my family well taken care of, especially when it comes to having a primary care physician. My mother does have a lot of immune disorder conditions. She does have Sjogren's. I unfortunately have the exact same issues as she has. She does have rheumatoid arthritis. I do help her with therapy. And unfortunately, I have that too, but like at a very, very minimized, like I'm just 39 years old, but I'm going to have it when I'm like 60 or 70 years old.
Okay. And look, I completely get having to take care of family, but you mentioned, so registering to vote, you said since you can't register to vote, you were going to help people register to vote. When you say can't, was it, because I think it's pretty easy to register to vote. Like I think you can vote. Can you register to vote online? I think, or is it that you have to go?
You have to go in person, and you have to switch out your ID to Louisiana. You have to provide, since you're coming from out of state, you have to provide 2 utility bills. You have to provide your lease. You have to provide that you've resided here for a certain time frame. And it took me 7 documents to actually get my federal ID. And then to register to vote, I could be mistaken, but yes, if you're like a Louisiana resident, if you do reside here, you can go on to online to GEAUX vote, and you can actually register to vote online. And you do have to be registered to vote 30 days before an election. So mind you, early voting starts at the end of September. October 14 is the election, and we are trying to get October 1st as a voting day.
Okay. So, and I know I literally am running out of time so fast now. It feels like it's flying.
You have to leave at 3. It's 2:54.
Okay, so see, I'm scrolling through.
Sure.
Okay, so James, sure, we asked for an intersection and she couldn't even answer one. Does she even know street names here?
Yes, I can mention Gerald. I can mention Maria Antoinette.
Yeah.
I can mention, streets. Okay. I can mention Calise, Johnson, Ambassador. That is just utterly ridiculous. If they just want to throw insults like that, it's a little bit childish.
I'm gonna try to.
I'm here to answer questions about policy. I'm here to answer questions that do matter. I'm not going to waste my time with those types of questions.
I totally get it. So I'm going to filter that.
It's fine. It's funny though. It kind of shows his immaturity level.
Okay, you know what?
That's a wrap.
The comments are hilarious, guys. I hope I tried to give you guys a great interview, or at least an interview worth watching. I think it's almost 2 hours. This is the longest I think I've gone.
When are you bringing Ms. Jan Swift, Guillery, and Blanco?
So I'll tell you right now, Jan Swift is coming on. Let me pull up my calendar.
I also want to listen to their interviews.
Yeah, so Jan Swift comes on September 15th.
She doesn't have time to come earlier?
So she might. I can ask her, because typically I do these on Friday.
Oh, got
and
it.
So I've been booking out ever since. But I could probably get her to come earlier. Maybe she'd be interested in moving up, because typically I don't do them midweek. But because the only available Friday that I have now is in November, which that would be past time.
That's over.
So so to make this interview happen, I did put aside some of my time to write development posts and to do this, because I knew this would be a conversation that, even for me, just to kind of get to know you a little bit more and get to kind of know where your head is as far as running for the mayor president. And I think I got a good bit from you, at least for me. I don't know. I can't speak for the people watching and listening.
Who else is coming?
So honestly, right now, that looks like it. So nobody else has reached out. I reached out to you and then Jan Swift. I can try to reach out to Blanco, and I don't know if Josh Guillery is going to come on.
Mayor President. You should reach out to them. I would like to hear their
I'll attempt. I'll see if I can get Josh Guillery to... Because it's been pretty difficult to get the guy on, and whenever I did get him on,
he serves us.
Yes, I know.
He's your mayor. I know. He works for you. It's just like, I will be working for you. If you call me, I will be there.
Okay.
It makes no sense that you don't make yourself available to the public.
I'm going to reach out to them, and I'll see if Jan Swift is willing to move up hers a little closer. Maybe I can. If I have time, either next week or the week after, I'll see if she'd be willing to move it up. I think she'd be able to. But as far as Blanco, I don't have any connections to Blanco. Sean Wilson was a great connection that I gained through a Leadership Lafayette friend. He gave me his contact. So with Leadership Lafayette, I've gained a lot of contacts, a lot of great insight to people that I just hear about or I have seen on TV or heard on the radio. So I'm thankful that you took the time to come on. And
of course, I will come on the show as requested. If you call me to come again before the elections, I will come again. If you want me to come every week, I will come here every week and address all of the nonsense that's going on. But more importantly, we have to get serious about the elections. We have to lay off the pettiness, and we have to focus on registering people to vote. So everybody, please reach out to your family. You don't have to talk about political parties. I don't talk about parties when I register people to vote. I tell them to educate themselves on policy, and I speak only about policy. I don't influence anyone to join a party, but we do need to get people registered to vote. And more importantly, stay safe out there. It's pretty hot, but today we are getting a little bit of a breeze, a Lafayette, a Louisiana breeze. I'm eager to wait to see some thunderstorms. But I will be here if you need me to come again. If the public wants to ask me questions on my Facebook page, my phone number, my website, my Instagram, my Twitter, I'm on Reddit. Obviously, people are talking a lot about me. I am on pretty much TikTok live every morning and every evening. My TikTok is Priscilla_Gonzalez. I do go live to answer questions, but for the most part, it's speaking with people that are on TikTok that have questions. So every social media platform, the only one that I don't use is Snapchat. But if you want to send me a Snapchat using my cell phone number, the reason I haven't changed my number is because I want to remain transparent, and I want people to have a direct line to me. If they want me to get a 337 number, I will have a second phone line. But again, my main cell phone is 956-563-6558.
All right. Well, Priscilla, I thank you very much for taking the time to come on. And as you said, if there's a time where I feel like I can have you back and have some more questions for you that are a little bit more fine-tuned, maybe Amy with the two E's.
Maybe she wants to be on the show.
Does she okay, but not at the same time. Would you?
Okay. If she wants to come in here and speak about how I'm not qualified, she could do that.
But she did say, I think she said she'd come on. So Amy, I might take you up on that. It'll be interesting to hear your side. And again, I am not a legal
scholar
guy. Yes, I'm not a legal scholar. I post about construction. So I
love your page. Thank you for
I appreciate that. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I know it was kind of an impromptu one, and obviously a hot button one. And Priscilla, I know you're going to do your best on Facebook and all the social media accounts that you have to provide as much information that you can provide. And all I can tell you is good luck. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your week and a great weekend.
Sure. I hope everybody has a blessed week. Stay safe, and more importantly, register to vote.
All right, guys, that is it. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for being engaged in the comment section. It kind of got wild, but it is what it is. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.